Have you ever laced up your walking shoes after turning 70, feeling that rush of empowerment as you step out for a gentle jog or yoga stretch, convinced it's the secret to defying age? What if I told you that very move could be the spark that ignites a fall, shattering bones and stealing your independence in an instant? Because falls during everyday exercise are the leading cause of injury for adults over 65, sending nearly 3.5 million seniors to emergency rooms last year alone, with over 41,000 tragic deaths from these preventable slips. That's one heart-stopping trip every few seconds, and it hits harder after 70 when bones thin and balance wobbles like never before. But here's why you absolutely need to watch this video to the very end. I'll count down the top 5 hidden exercise traps that could ruin your golden years, and reveal the shocking number 1 danger. Even doctors call it ticking time bomb, plus simple swaps to stay active and safe without the risk. Your future self will thank you. Let's dive in. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Number 5. Running or jogging on hard surfaces. Number 5. Picture this, that seemingly harmless morning jog around the neighborhood, the sun peeking over the horizon, your favorite playlist pumping in your earbuds. It feels like the perfect way to kickstart the day, right? Wrong. It's actually a sneaky ambush waiting to happen to your fragile skeletal system. Who would have thought that something as straightforward as pounding the pavement could leave you cracked open like a fragile eggshell dropped from a countertop? Let's dive into the hard-hitting science behind this bone-busting betrayal. A comprehensive study from Temple Health, focusing specifically on seniors over the age of 50, pinpointed running as one of the top offenders when it comes to triggering stress fractures, those sneaky little fissures that start in the feet and shins. The repetitive, jarring impacts act like a relentless hammer on your bones, which are already in the midst of thinning out due to age-related changes. These micro-traumas accumulate over time, turning what begins as tiny, almost imperceptible cracks into full-blown breaks that demand serious medical intervention. And here's a stat that'll make you lace up your walking shoes instead. For individuals over 70, bone density naturally declines by about 1 to 2% each year, a gradual erosion that amplifies the risk of those high-impact jolts causing fractures by a whopping 30%. It's not just bad luck, it's biology stacking the odds against you. Now, breaking down the mechanics of this disaster in motion. As we age, the once plush cartilage that acts as a natural shock absorber in our joints starts to wear thin and lose its resilience, leaving your skeletal structure with virtually no buffer against the relentless pounding. Imagine trying to sprint across a floor made of brittle glass shards. Every step sends shockwaves rippling through your lower extremities, stressing the bones beyond their compromised capacity. The fallout? Immediate swelling that balloons your ankles and shins, sharp stabs of pain that halt you in your tracks, and potentially months, yes months, of frustrating downtime on the sidelines, watching everyone else enjoy their active lifestyles while you're iced up and elevated. But hold up, we're not here to rain on your fitness parade entirely. Movement is still your best friend for maintaining overall health, mobility, and that feel-good endorphin rush. The key is to pivot smartly to alternatives that keep the benefits without the breakage. Trade in those high-impact runs for gentle, low-impact walking sessions on forgiving surfaces like a lush, soft patch of grass in the park or the cushioned belt of a treadmill set to a leisurely 2 to 3 miles per hour. Ease into it with just 10 minutes a day at first, gradually ramping up as your body adapts and strengthens. Think of it as giving your bones a gentle wake-up call rather than a rude alarm. Your hips, knees, and the rest of your lower body will send you thank you notes in the form of reduced aches and sustained energy. Mystery unraveled, crisis averted, on to the next revelation. Number 4. Overhead sports like tennis or golf swings. Hold onto your hat for number 4. Transport yourself to that sun-drenched tennis court or meticulously manicured golf course, where the air hums with anticipation. Your mid-swing, racket or club an extension of your will, evoking the ghosts of legends. The ferocious precision of Serena Williams unleashing a serve that could dent steel, or Tiger Woods carving a drive through the ether with surgical grace. The crowd in your imagination cheers. The ball obeys your command. It radiates pure, unadulterated joy, a testament to skill honed over decades. Until, without mercy, your shoulder mounts a coup d'etat. A twinge escalates to a tear, the arm hangs limp in defeat, and suddenly, that emblem of vitality becomes an emblem of vulnerability. What starts as adorable overconfidence curdles into a harsh reckoning, courtesy of anatomy's unforgiving evolution. Shining a rigorous evidence beam on this shoulder showdown yields revelations that demand respect, or at least a pause before your next backhand. Peer-reviewed research spanning sports medicine journals underscores a troubling surge. Rotator cuff tears proliferate exponentially among vibrant seniors over 70 who persist with overhead-dominant pursuits, with the incidence tied inexorably to the sport's explosive demands. Delve into the stats from overuse injury registries, and the numbers stare back accusingly. Upwards of 20% of dedicated racket sport devotees in this age group grapple with these tears, a figure that climbs with frequency of play and intensity of swings. The insidious driver? Chronological, where strips away tendon elasticity at a staggering rate, often having its former suppleness by the time you've collected those silver strands. What was once a supple coil of connective tissue, bending and rebounding with youthful verve, devolves into a taut, unforgiving strand, one ill-timed overhead extension away from fraying or fully rupturing under the sport's signature torque. To grasp the mechanical mischief at play, let's dissect the shoulder's inner workings with the precision of an orthopedic diagram. Central to the chaos is the rotator cuff, that elite quartet of muscles, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis, intertwined with their tendon counterparts, forming a dynamic sling that cradles the humerus in the glenoid fossa, that shallow, saucer-like socket of the scapula. Their mandate? To initiate, fine-tune, and stabilize every elevation, rotation, and propulsion of the arm, countering the destabilizing whirl of a tennis topspin or golf hook. In prime condition, they operate like a well-oiled orchestra, but age introduces discord through insidious dehydration of the synovial fluid, chronic low-grade inflammation from microtears accumulated over lifetimes of use, and a gradual calcification that stiffens the ensemble. Factor in the overhead swing's physics, rotational speeds exceeding 1,000 degrees per second, eccentric loading as the arm decelerates post-impact, and it's akin to overclocking ancient wiring. The tendons, now as pliable as sun-bleached rubber bands, stretch beyond their modulus of elasticity, yielding with a pop that severs fibers and unleashes havoc. The symphony sours into a dirge, searing white-hot pain that pierces from deltoid to trapezius, a precipitous drop in active range of motion rendering overhead reaches, think shampooing your hair or stowing luggage, torturous ordeals, and the specter of complications like frozen shoulder or full-thickness tears necessitating arthroscopic surgery, complete with its anesthesia risks, rehab timelines, and variable success rates. But despair not. This isn't a verdict of eternal bench warming. It's an invitation to ingenuity, to recalibrating your pursuit of play with tools that amplify strength sans the sabotage. The antidote? A seamless sidestep to modalities that nurture the cuff without taxing it. Enter the unassuming yet transformative world of seated resistance band pulls, a staple in geriatric PT protocols for their scalability and specificity. Position yourself on a stable chair or bench, feet planted firmly for anchorage, and secure a resistance band, start light, perhaps 5 to 10 pounds of tension, around a door anchor or sturdy post at chest height. Gripping the handles with palms facing in, exhale as you draw your elbows back in a rowing motion, squeezing the shoulder blades together like pinching a pencil between them. For a controlled 3 sets of 10 repetitions, spacing sessions twice weekly to allow recovery. This isn't flashy, it's foundational, targeting the exact musculature with isometric holds and concentric pulls that rebuild elasticity, enhance proprioception, and fortify the cuff's integrity against future faux pas. Over time, you'll notice subtler shifts. Fluid arm circles sans grind, the confidence to lift groceries overhead, and a shoulder that feels fortified rather than frail. No courtside drama, just deliberate, drama-free progress. Peril parsed, playbook perfected, onward to fresh insights. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 3. Heavy squats or lifting without guidance. Oh boy, let's kick things off with number 3 on this eye-opening countdown of fitness pitfalls tailored for those fabulous folks cruising past 70. The all-too-tempting urge to stack those weight plates sky-high for deep squats or those Herculean heavy lifts, all in pursuit of forging that legendary, unyielding strength we see in highlight reels. It's an aspiration straight out of a Rocky montage, empowering, motivational, and downright heroic in intent. But when tackled without the wisdom of a seasoned guide or a mirror for form checks, it morphs into a perilously unpredictable game of knee-wrecking roulette. One spin of the wheel, and you could be drawing the short straw, courtesy of your own enthusiasm outpacing your body's seasoned safeguards. To ground this in unassailable reality, let's lean on the wealth of orthopedic and joint health data that's been meticulously compiled over decades. Studies reveal that meniscus tears, those insidious, jagged rips in the knee's vital cushioning cartilage, affect a staggering 15% to 25% of seniors who venture into strength training regimens that veer off course, often triggered by overloaded bends or fleeting lapses in technique. And if that's not sobering enough, consider the inexorable march of time. By the time we cross into our 70s, natural degenerative changes have thinned knee cartilage by an average of 40%, a gradual erosion from everyday wear, hormonal shifts, and reduced cellular repair capacity. This sets the stage for catastrophe, where a single misaligned load doesn't just stress the tissue. It shreds it like wet paper fed into an overzealous office shredder, leaving behind fragments that inflame the joint and spark a cascade of complications. The fallout? We're talking weeks or months of rehab, not to mention the emotional toll of sidelined hobbies, from chasing grandkids to tending a beloved flower bed. Now, peel back the layers on precisely how this knee nightmare materializes mid-rep. Envision your meniscus as the knee's steadfast shock absorber, a resilient C-shaped fibrocartilage ring wedged between femur and tibia, engineered to distribute weight, lubricate movements, and buffer impacts during life's endless squats, whether literal or just navigating uneven sidewalks. Under ideal conditions, it's a maestro of resilience. But introduce heavy barbells without flawless form, knees caving inward, back rounding, or depth exceeding safe limits, and it faces brutal axial compression, akin to squeezing a ripe peach until the pit cracks. Compounding this vulnerability is sarcopenia, the age-stealthy thief that pilfers 1 to 2% of your quadriceps muscle mass annually after age 50, weakening the very engines that stabilize and propel your knees. The result? A precarious teeter. Sudden swelling balloons the joint like an overinflated balloon. Instability turns every step into a gamble, and simple joys like climbing stairs become Herculean ordeals, fraught with pain and the whisper of, "What if I fall?" It's a domino effect that doesn't just ache, it chips away at the autonomy we've spent lifetimes building. Yet, in the spirit of empowerment over alarm, there's a beacon of hope in smarter, scalable alternatives that honor your drive without inviting disaster. Bid farewell to the free weight frenzy and embrace chair squats as your new best friend. Select a firm, armless chair at knee height, plant your feet hip-width apart, and methodically lower yourself to sit, without plopping, before rising under your own steam. Aim for 10 deliberate reps, inhaling on the descent and exhaling on the ascent to engage your core. This gem rebuilds neural pathways for proper movement patterns, reignites dormant glute and quad fibers, and fortifies balance, all while the chair acts as a forgiving backstop. As confidence blooms and strength subtly accrues, monitor for any twinges, of course. Consult your physician for clearance to introduce feather-light ankle weights, perhaps 1 to 2 pounds per side, for that progressive edge. Voila, a fortified lower body, primed for real-world prowess, minus the meniscus mayhem. Your knees aren't just preserved, they're partners in your ongoing adventure. Number 2. Twisty yoga poses or unsteady balance work. Alright, let's pause for a reality check as we unveil the silver medal menace at number 2. Those alluring, Instagram-worthy yoga twists. Think eagle pose entanglements or warrior balances teetering on one foot, that whisper promises of zen-like flexibility and unshakable equilibrium. On the surface, they're a tranquil ticket to mindfulness and grace, but for many in the over 70 brigade, they masquerade as elegant fall factories, ingeniously disguised to lure you into overreach before the floor claims victory. The evidence mounts like a prosecutor's case file, unyielding and urgent. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, broadcasts the grim tally. 1 in 4 adults over 65 endures at least one tumble annually, a statistic that swells ominously when balance-taxing exercises enter the fray, particularly for those dipping toes into such practices for the first time. This escalation. It hikes fall risk by as much as 25%, with roughly 10% of those mishaps escalating to emergency room spectacles, complete with X-rays revealing fractures that demand surgical pins or prolonged bed rest. For a poignant parallel, consider aggregated data from Alpine medical centers, where over 70 adventurers in terrain-challenging hikes, mirroring yoga's proprioceptive demands, logged 35 incidents in a single season, each culminating in a flurry of radius fractures, those telltale forearm snaps from instinctively flailing arms to cushion the descent. It's a mosaic of mishaps underscoring how what begins as a bid for serenity can spiral into seasons of sidelined recovery, complete with casts, pain meds, and the quiet frustration of postponed plans. To unpack the biomechanical betrayal at play, we must spotlight proprioception, your body's exquisite, subconscious positioning system, A symphony of sensory receptors and muscles, joints, and inner ears that charts limb locations and spatial relations to avert chaos. Post 70, this finely tuned orchestra loses 20 to 30% of its precision. Blame it on demyelinated nerves, vestibular tweaks, or sheer synaptic slowdown, rendering a deceptively simple spinal twist or unilateral stance akin to decoding Morse code in a storm. Ankles, with their constellation of ligaments already lax from decades of duteous duty, and hips bearing the brunt of gravitational tolls, bear the overload, a fractional sway, an unperceived shift in center of mass, and equilibrium evaporates. Gravity, ever the opportunist, seizes the moment. Downward trajectory ensues, often with a rotational torque that snaps bones ill-equipped for such drama in their later chapters. The sequel? Beyond superficial bruises, it's the specter of hip fractures, a fall's most feared heirloom, or vertebral tweaks that tether you to assistive devices, dimming the vibrancy of spontaneous outings and fostering a cautious gait that begets more isolation. Happily, redemption lies in refined, risk-averse reinventions that capture the essence of these disciplines without the precipice. Pivot to chair yoga or Tai Chi's undulating flows. Carve out 15 minutes daily for seated sun salutations, gentle arm circles, seated spinal undulations, and leg lifts anchored by the chair's embrace, or Tai Chi's silk-reeling forms, where slow, circular motions weave breath with intention. These modalities nurture proprioceptive revival through deliberate, feedback-rich reps, enhancing vestibular harmony and joint awareness sans the vertigo of unsupported exploits. A stable seat or wall becomes your ally, transforming potential peril into profound progress. No teetering on disaster's edge. Just a fortified footing that echoes through every confident stride, reclaiming poise as your enduring ally. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 1. Sudden high-intensity workouts. And for the grand finale, the crown jewel of consternation that's prowled my thoughts through countless midnight musings and data deep dives, catapulting into abrupt, sweat-drenched high-intensity cardio marathons or those pulsating hit infernos, Tabata-style sprints, kettlebell swings, or burpee barrages, that viral videos tout as the elixir of eternal youth. This isn't a mere flirtation with folly. It's a cardiac tightrope walk, the sort that can eclipse carpe diem with the blare of sirens, transforming vigor into vulnerability in a heartbeat. Brace for the barrage of bulletins that illuminate this peril. For the subset of seniors harboring cardiovascular undercurrents, a cohort encompassing roughly 11% of physically engaged over 70s per epidemiological sweeps, vaulting into vigorous exertions inflates cardiac arrest probabilities from 6-fold to an astonishing 164-fold above baseline repose, as chronicled in exhaustive exercise cardiology dossiers. Harvard's longitudinal lenses sharpen the focus. Across the board, a mere 2 to 3% of senior cardiac events tether explicitly to exertion, yet among those activity-attributed tragedies, sudden intensity surges dominate the docket, merciless assaults on vasculature laced with atherosclerotic plaque, where a surge mimics flooring the accelerator in a clogged thoroughfare, courting blockages or bursts. Dissecting the deadly dynamics reveals a confluence of chronological concessions. Cardiac output zenith, measured as VO2 max, the oxygen uptake ceiling, ebbs by 5 to 10% per decade beyond 50, courtesy of myocardial stiffening, endothelial wear, and a subtle systolic dip that curtails reserve. Absent preamble, an explosive hit volley unleashes a deluge of metabolic mandates. Heart rate soars stratospherically, coronary demand outstrips supply in sclerotic conduits, and the perfect storm brews. Ventricular arrhythmias flicker like faulty wiring, thrombi dislodge from nooks, or plaques fissure to spawn emboli. Small wonder, then, that overexertion orchestrates 25% of exercise-fueled ER odysseys in this demographic. It's the covert conductor of crises, masquerading amid motivational mantras. Yet, exhale deeply, for vitality's vault needn't vault into voids. Sidestep the shock by inaugurating every session with a ritualistic ramp-up, 5 minutes of in-place marching, arms swinging loosely, to incrementally kindle circulation and calibrate neural firing, much like tuning an instrument before the symphony. Transition seamlessly to temperate brisk ambles. Perhaps 20 to 30 minutes weaving familiar paths, conversing cadence to sustain aerobic bliss without the brink. Paramount. Enlist your healthcare oracle pre-pursuit for a bespoke benediction, weaving in EKG echoes, pharma profiles, and personal precedents to sculpt a sanctuary of motion. This isn't curtailing the chase, it's choreographing a crescendo to sustain splendor, heartbeat by harmonious heartbeat. Your tomorrow gleams brighter. Safe, spirited, and supremely yours. Onward, with wisdom as your wingman. Phew, friends, we've just uncovered the raw truth about why exercise after 70 demands a smarter, safer playbook. From those sneaky stress fractures in a simple jog to the heart-racing risks of sudden hit that could clip your wings for good. But flipping the script? That's where the magic happens. Gentle swaps like chair squats and Tai Chi aren't just safe. They're your ticket to reclaiming those vibrant days without the ER drama. So, tell me, what have you learned so far that hit home hardest? Drop a comment below sharing one key takeaway you're committing to practice in your daily routine right now. Maybe ditching overhead swings for band pulls, or warming up before every walk. Your story could inspire a fellow viewer to pivot too. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more life-saving senior wisdom. Stay empowered, stay steady, until next time.